The US government just posted a profit, a budget surplus. For the first time in years, Washington actually took in more money than it spent.
The US government had a $27 billion surplus.
$27 billion surplus.
And guess what made it happen? The same thing the media said would crash the economy, destroy trade, and bankrupt the middle class. Tariffs. Specifically, Trump's tariff.
I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary.
Tariff.
President Trump's tariff policies.
In June 2025 alone, tariff revenue hit nearly $27 billion, which oddly enough is the exact amount of the surplus. So no tariffs, no surplus. And now, no one in Washington wants to talk about it. Because if they do, they'd have to admit something that makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. Trump might have been right again. Just like he was for the lab leak, the laptop, and NATO support. I mean, it's okay if you don't like him, but that alone doesn't make him wrong. Let's start with the scoreboard. In May, the federal government ran a $316 billion deficit. The very next month, a $27 billion surplus. That's a $343 billion swing in 30 days. Why? Because June saw the largest tariff haul in US history. Over $27 billion collected. That's more than quadruple what came in the same month last year. Tariffs are now the fourth largest source of federal revenue. Bigger than capital gains, bigger than estate taxes, bigger than fuel taxes. Just income tax, corporate tax, and payroll taxes beat it. But this isn't just about numbers. This is about what these numbers say. For years, the media painted tariffs as economic suicide. CNN called them a tax on American consumers. Paul Krugman said they were based on ignorance. And Joe Biden himself, back in 2019, said Trump's tariffs meant American farmers, manufacturers, and consumers losing and paying more. But in 2025, those same policies are now quietly propping up the federal budget. Even Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, Trump's own appointee, openly celebrated it. We're reaping the rewards of Trump's tariff strategy with no inflation. Wait, what? Yeah, gas prices hit a 4-year low in June. Grocery prices didn't spike. So where's the disaster everyone predicted? Well, here's where it gets political. If Trump cured cancer, the media would complain that he put oncologists out of work. That's the level of bias that we're dealing with. But this surplus, it puts DC in a weird position because they hate the guy who designed the system, but they love the money it's bringing in. No one in the Biden admin is throwing a party over the surplus because admitting it worked means giving Trump credit. And in DC, that's radioactive. So they bury it. They label it a one-off, a fluke, a quirk of timing. But here's the truth. Tariffs made the surplus possible. Without them, we're back in the red. And that's why this story barely made a blip in the headlines. Now let's be fair. Tariffs aren't magic. They don't grow money from trees. They work by charging importers more. And guess who importers pass the cost on to? Yeah, you. According to the Tax Foundation, tariffs are costing the average US household about $1,200 per year. It's a stealth tax, kind of like inflation is a stealth tax. You don't see it on your paycheck, but you feel it at checkout. But what most people overlook is this. Inflation didn't spike. Some foreign suppliers ate the cost to stay competitive. Some companies shifted supply chains. And in certain cases, domestic manufacturers stepped in. So instead of prices soaring, the system adjusted. Now, let's zoom out. The headline surplus, it's real. But is it repeatable? Because in June, the government also slashed spending by nearly $187 billion. Not through sweeping budget cuts, but through a mix of payment timing shifts, short-term hiring freezes, and paused federal contracts. Some expenses were quietly pushed to July, making June's books look leaner than usual. It was smart financial maneuvering, not a structural overhaul. And while it helped create the surplus, it doesn't diminish the fact that tariffs alone still matched that $27 billion surplus dollar for dollar. So yeah, tariffs plugged the hole, but smart accounting moves helped too. Still, the fact that tariffs alone matched the surplus dollar for dollar, that matters. This is a strategic pivot in US fiscal policy. not just Trump being Trump. Tariffs are now acting like a national sales tax on foreign goods. And for the first time in decades, they're making a serious dent in the deficit. That's why this matters. It isn't about credit or blame. It's about a policy that worked, even if it came with trade-offs. Here's where it hits home. If tariffs stick around or even expand, we'll see ripple effects. More domestic manufacturing, more factory jobs in the US, higher demand for industrial real estate, local suppliers replacing global ones. That means opportunity. Think warehouses near ports, housing near logistics hubs, or starting a side hustle that benefits from made in USA demand. This isn't theory, it's happening. You can complain, or you can capitalize. You want proof? Take a look at Granite City, Illinois. Back in 2015, under Obama, their steel plant shut down. Over 2,000 workers lost their jobs. Local businesses collapsed. It felt like the town was dying. Then, in 2018, Trump's steel tariffs kicked in. Within months, U.S. Steel reopened the plant. Hundreds of jobs came back. Families who left returned. Was it perfect? No. The jobs didn't all stay forever, and the plant still faces global pressure. But for a time, tariffs literally rewired the town's economy. One local union rep said it best. It was like someone turned the lights back on. That's what happens when policy meets people. But here's the catch most people forget. Policy can open a door. But if you don't have the capital ready to move through it, someone else will. The factory reopens, the tax incentives shift, the prices drop, and you're stuck watching from the sidelines because your bank needs 30 days to return a phone call. That's why having money at the ready isn't just nice, it's how you win. If you've ever missed a deal because the bank moved too slow, you're gonna wanna see this next. I break down the exact 7-day funding loophole that banks would rather I not share, but here goes. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.